Local nonprofit organization strongly believes that every woman and child has the right to live a healthy, safe, and fulfilling life free of fear and abuse. It is their desire, through fundraising efforts, to establish programs in the areas of education and community service. An upcoming event is a 5K run that you don't want to miss. All the details are coming up on Polk Place. Welcome to Polk Place. I'm your host, Jeremy Morady, and with me today is Dr. Brian Hamilton, Director of Heather's Hope Foundation, and Veronica Kirst, who is the President of Heather's Hope Foundation.
Hello.
And Dr. Lisa Carter, who is the Community Director for Heather's Hope Foundation. Welcome, everyone.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, it's great to be here.
Thanks for coming in. Well, I know you guys have a lot to talk about, and kind of want to start off, Veronica, a little bit. You can tell us a little bit about Heather's Hope Foundation, kind of how it came to be, and where you guys are going right now.
Well, 2008, we had a friend, Heather Rimmer, who was a teacher at Valley View, as well as South McKeel. And she was murdered by her husband in front of her two children. They were 6 and 12 at the time. And then he, in turn, killed himself. And she was very big into teaching and educating children. So we decided to start a foundation. In 2009, we became a 501c3 foundation in her memory. And what we do is we raise money so that we can help younger children know the signs of domestic violence, because she was 16 when she started dating her husband. And it wasn't until she was murdered that we didn't know about the abuse. We knew about police reports after the fact. So we feel that had Heather known about the signs and was educated on the signs, we don't think she would have stayed, and we think she'd be here right now with us.
I remember those early days. I was born and raised here, grew up here, and I remember when that happened. Mm-hmm. And just outpouring of sympathy from the community that came following that.
Absolutely.
And in the years since. How has that, one, impacted you guys and also benefited in y'all's giving back to the community?
We just think that I saw her every day, and I wonder, how come I didn't see these signs? Why? And we realized because we weren't educated to look for signs like these. So our mission is to keep Heather's memory alive and to try to educate every young child about teen dating abuse and domestic violence.
The kind of outpouring that we see from the community in those kinds of cases makes it clear that there's so much support, there's so much concern, there's so much passion around these issues, but it's the lack of education, it's the lack of sort of understanding how to recognize and see these things happening in the community before they get to the point of these horrific mm-hmm. crimes that really need some more attention. So that's, we're trying to capitalize, we're trying to draw on that concern that we know that people have mm-hmm. For these kinds of cases, and channel that energy, channel that passion into something more preventive, more constructive before we get to those crisis moments.
Well, in those early years, and starting at just a year after her death, what were some of those ways that you started, one, remembering her and started reaching out to other folks?
Well, we used to do fundraisers. We did one at Curly and Keel, like a wine tasting. Mm-hmm. But then we realized it's the younger generation we really need to work on. So we decided that we were going to stick with the younger generation and do 5Ks. And we were also going to offer students scholarships. And we do the 1 5K, and that's where we get our funds from. And we do 2 scholarships. And they're $1,000 scholarships that we give to a male and a female every year. And they have to submit an essay on how they can educate their community about domestic violence and teen dating abuse. Because teen dating abuse preferences, domestic violence. And that's when we partnered with Heartland for Children, and they told us about the Yellow Dress Play, and Lisa will let you know about the Yellow Dress Play.
Okay.
All right.
So if you can, talk to a little bit about those early days and making the inroads into the community, letting them know that you're there, what kind of work you're doing, and how you got people interactive in remembering her and what she did.
Well, Heather was very active in the community. A year prior to her death, she started becoming an avid runner, and she was running all kinds of 5Ks and making a name as a local runner. And we decided to do some fundraisers. We did a wine one and a few other, but we realized we need to stick with the younger group, and we started 5Ks. And because this is where her heart was, in these 5Ks right before she was murdered. And with those 5Ks, we raised money for scholarships for students, and we fund a play through Heartland for Children called the Yellow Dress Play, and it's also for students. Our focus is on younger and educating the younger generation.
Well, I know you guys have one of your races coming up,
Yep.
And I know the 5Ks, it's a nice distance to where you can kind of get everyone involved. You're not having to overly train for it or anything like that, and everyone can kind of go at their own pace. Can you tell us a little bit about what you have coming up?
Absolutely. So we're in the process of planning our 7th annual 5K race. It certainly can be walked as well. So as you said, all fitness levels are welcome. You can run, walk, or walk. Children too are encouraged to come along. The race will be Saturday, October 29th. Registration will start at 7 a.m. and the race is scheduled to start at 8 a.m. We're doing pre-registration at this time, so people can go to our Facebook page and find the link to the website to register online. And it's best to register early so that people can be guaranteed the race t-shirt and a discounted registration price. So we hope that many people will come out and support this event so that we can raise those funds for our scholarships for our high school students.
Well, what has it been like in past years with the races, and like in terms of turnout, and then also do you guys do any type of education, with the race and letting them know, kind of why this is happening and what's going on?
I'm pretty new to Heather's Hope. I've just been on the board of directors for a little over a year now. So last year was my first experience with the race. Veronica, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe we had about 200
Yes,
or so
212.
runners last year, so a little over 200.
Right.
And that was up from the year before.
Yes.
So it's steadily increasing in popularity. People, I think, are learning more about this event. So we hope that we can continue to increase those runner registrations.
Mm-hmm.
Our memory wall seems to be something that a lot of the families of victims come for, because we have a memory wall and they're able to place a picture of their loved one on that wall. And a lot of them wear t-shirts that say, "We're running in memory of so-and-so." And we usually have survivors there to speak to our audience. And of course, some of our sponsors are all welcome to have tables there. And, they give out free things. But it's not just you run and go. We educate you.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about the Yellow Dress Play. Last year we had the actress from the Yellow Dress Play there that spoke as well.
Well, Brian, if you can, tell us a little bit about the Yellow Dress Play and some of the other stuff that the Heather's Hope Foundation does.
Absolutely. Yeah, the Yellow Dress Play is one of the main things that we do with the money that we raise at the 5K every year. And the Yellow Dress Play, it's a one-woman show that we help to sponsor at the performance at a number of local high schools every fall. And this play is about a woman, a teenager who experiences dating violence, and it's supposed to help these students learn to recognize the patterns of dating violence in their own lives. So getting back to what Veronica was saying earlier, it's about helping people to recognize these patterns before they blow up, and helping young people to recognize how these patterns can start in very subtle ways that don't look like they would be catastrophic when you first encounter them, but to start to see, no, you know what, I've seen this happening with my friends. I've seen this happening in my own relationships. So we try to put it in front of as many high school students as we can every year. If other folks are interested in coming to see these plays, they can. You can check the Heather's Hope website for the schedule of the upcoming shows and send an email to any of us. Send an email to the Heather's Hope Foundation. You can find an email address on our website or our Facebook page as well, and we can take you along as a guest. It's a very, very powerful show.
We do come across a couple high schools that don't think their high school has issues with dating abuse. And those are the high schools that, when we hear something's happened with somebody getting arrested, it's those high schools, it's one in particular, that refuses that they have a problem. But everybody has a problem in their high school.
It's out there. Yeah.
It is, absolutely.
These patterns hide in silence. That's why it's so important for us to be able to talk about it and talk about it and talk about it whenever we have the chance to do it, to really get people to reflect on the fact that this is much closer to home than they think.
And there's a question and answer after the play that these kids really interact with Heartland for Children, because they're the ones with the question and answers, and there's always therapists and guidance counselors there, because there's always one or two children that need to walk out of the room, and we have somebody there to help them.
The other major thing that we do with the money that we raise with the 5K, as Veronica mentioned earlier, is scholarships for high school students. Again, this is in honor of Heather's memory, who was herself an educator, and also to contribute to this broader mission of getting young people to reflect on this as early as they can. So like Veronica mentioned earlier, these students write essays about how to educate themselves and their peers about the realities of dating violence, of intimate partner violence. And every year we give 2 scholarships. We read a bunch of essays from these high school students that are really powerful, really profound meditations on these realities as they've experienced them, and we give out 2 scholarships to help them continue their education.
This year we happen to give out a 3rd one. We had a winner from 2013 who has graduated college, and wrote us a beautiful letter, how much the scholarship impacted him and impacted the path he's going on, and he's becoming an attorney. Well, right before he left for school, we surprised him with a $2,000 check for college.
That's nice.
Yes, so we had the money, so we gave it to him, Tyler Allman, who is at Georgia Law School.
All right.
Yes.
Well, it's wonderful to hear those types of stories that, where you're making that impact and, continuing on that legacy that she left.
Yes.
So, well, thank you guys so much for coming in.
Thank you for
so
having
much
us.
So, Heather's Hope Foundation's mission is to promote awareness and prevention of domestic violence through education and public service. They invite you to the 7th annual Heather's Hope Purple Ribbon 5K Run and Walk, which starts at 7 a.m. Saturday, October 29th. Pre-registration deadline is October 22nd, and the registration the day of the event is $30. The event takes place at Lake Hollingsworth at the Lakeland Yacht Club. Keep in mind they can always use the help of local businesses and sponsors for donations and goodie bag items. For more information, you can give them a call at 863-899-3592 or look them up on the web at www.heathershope.net.